Right, today I'm going to show you how to make pizza. In my mixing bowl, and by the way, you find these in your unit cupboard, mixing bowl, you will have 225 grams of strong plain flour. Remember, this is the flour that you used for making your bread. Does anybody know what's special about it? Why is it good for bread making? What's it got? Riley?
It's got the stuff that helps it raise.
Almost. When you say stuff, what's it high in? Can you remember? No.
Smelly flour.
I'm going to add yeast, but something that's in this flour. No? Good.
Water.
Gluten. Gluten. Strong flour is high in gluten, which is the protein that is found in wheat. And what it does is it makes the dough stretchy. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Now, a few of you mentioned about raising agent. The raising agent we use is dried yeast, and we add a sachet if you've got the little packets, or it's about 7 grams, which is about 3 level teaspoons, okay? So you just go 1, 2, many of you have the little sachets. So 3 teaspoons of yeast. This is our biological raising agent. Please can somebody get me a bottle of oil from the top of the fridge, please? Salt. Please be quiet because I'm filming. Salt. Half a teaspoon of salt, measure it out. We provide that for you in school. In it goes.
They're making cappuccinos as well.
Thank you. Please be quiet. Thank you. Now, oil, in this recipe, it's slightly less than in your bread rolls. It's 1 teaspoon of oil. Just a little bit. Okay? In it goes. We're then going to add, well, what you can do is give it a little mix before you add your water, just to get the yeast kind of distributed. Water. Warm water from the tap. Why warm? Can anyone remember? Yes.
Is it because it activates the yeast?
Well done. It activates the yeast. Brilliant. The yeast likes warmth and it helps it to produce little bubbles of CO2, and we call that process fermentation. Yeah? 150 millilitres of warm water. So put some of it in and use your table knife to give it a mix around, and you'll start to form a dough. It will start coming together. So give it a bit of a stir, then put in some more. Remember not to put too much water in. Did anybody here put too much in last time?
Well, I just put the whole jug in and mine worked out.
Was it all right? Did anybody put in too much?
I went in for demonstration. It was really, really sticky.
Sometimes it can be too sticky.
Mine was too breaky.
So we need to put it in.
Then put more flour on.
We need to add the water gradually. Right, 150 mils of warm water. Then you get your hands in. Make sure you've got nice clean hands. Start kneading it in the bowl. Then you can turn it out onto your table, and you're going to knead the dough. Your recipe actually says 10 minutes. That's quite a long time, really, for a pizza base. 5 minutes is good enough. And what we're looking for is a dough that is smooth and elastic. I think I need a tiny bit more water.
Miss, do you need an assistant to do stuff for you when you go there?
I think. So you'll get to a point where it feels okay. Turn it out. You can tap out. You've done this before. Tap out your dry flour onto the table. Using the heel of your hand here, you can stretch and turn the dough. You can use one hand, you can use 2 hands. Get all of the dry flour in. If your dough is not too sticky, you won't need to add any extra flour at all. But if it is sticking, use your flour dredger to dust the worktop, okay? I don't think I need to do that.
What if it keeps on like breaking?
Miss, what's a flour dredger?
Flour dredger, it's like a
Dredger.
sprinkler.
Oh, I've never had.
So, knead your dough for a good 5 minutes. What's happening here is that the gluten is developing. Do you remember the gluten we talked about in the flour?
With the balloon.
Yeah? It's getting stretchy and elastic. The yeast is incorporated in the dough.
Why do we add salt into bread?
Well, 2 reasons. Flavour, and it strengthens the gluten. You need, if you didn't put salt in, it will not taste quite right. It just lacks something. Does that make sense? And some bread recipes have a tiny, tiny little bit of sugar in. Like just a
sugar dough?
tiny bit. Well, it's such a small amount. This one doesn't have that in, but some breads do. So, 5 minutes kneading. We're going to use a rolling pin to roll out our dough into a circle. Yeah.
Why do you like? If you add sugar, then why do you add so little?
Well, because it's a savoury product, isn't it? You don't want it to be like super sweet, but some recipes will just have a tiny little bit. For some reason. Also, it behaves as food for the yeast as well, but the yeast will also feed on the starch in the flour, so, you know. Right, baking tray lined with paper. So when you've given that a good knead, you're going to roll it out. Now, I suggest when you roll it, you do put a little bit of flour underneath and on top. And the trick is to roll it one way and then roll it the other way. And you can see it's quite difficult because it's trying to shrink back. That's the gluten. So you have to push really, really hard. Roll it one way, turn it and roll it the other way. You guys will probably be better at this than me because I'm not probably as strong as you. There we go. Oh, one other thing, make sure your oven's on. We normally do that for you. So electric ovens will be on at just over 200 and gas mark 7. So a fairly hot oven. Get those on preheating. Now you're making a circle that will fit onto your tray. You don't want it wider than the tray. And what you could do, you either make one pizza or you can divide your dough and make mini pizzas if you want to. You could make 4 little ones. So have a think about it. Think about what's going to fit into your container.
4 little ones.
I'll just buy a bigger container.
Yeah.
Because we can cut them, but obviously that takes quite a lot of time. Right, I think I'm happy with that.
If you had like extra dough, could you make like not a stuffed crust, but could you like roll the edge of it to make the crust?
You could, but you have to factor it into your timings. It might take a bit longer to cook. So you end up with a circle like this, and you're going to put it onto your baking tray.
Have you got some cool tricks like that?
I know, I'm not that skilled. Right, brilliant. Okay, so you're ready to do your toppings. Now you can use tomato puree like this, or you can use a pizza sauce. And somebody mentioned earlier about different flavour sauces. Who was it? Somebody said about a barbecue sauce. So there are different sauces that you can use. This is just tomato puree. And on your recipe, it doesn't give you a quantity, but you need a sort of small amount that's going to cover. I reckon it's about 3 tablespoons. So with the puree, all you do is squeeze it onto the dough. And then you're going to use the back of the spoon to spread it out. That's probably enough. So when I say back of the spoon, I mean the curved side. Use that to spread it over the circle of dough, okay? Tomato puree has quite a strong flavour, so use that if that's what you like, or you can get a different sauce. Done. Cheese. 50 to 80 grams of grated cheese. And you can bring it in ready grated, or you can do it in school, but it might save you time if you bring it in ready grated. Yes.
Could we just like bring a bag of grated cheese and just put as much as
Yeah.
you want?
Cheddar or mozzarella works really, really well.
Do we what are we gonna do like pepperoni or like do
You
we
can do
bring like maybe
Mixed
chorizo?
You can do what toppings you like. Do something that's obviously suitable for a pizza. I encourage you, where possible, to use some vegetables because we want to try and balance it and make it a bit healthier. So,
Would we be allowed to bring in pineapple? Maybe.
yes.
Mixed meat?
It's one of your 5 a day.
She called you a weirdo, but what is wrong with you?
I'm gonna go.
So, grater, use the
Thicker side?
coarser side, yeah. This side, anyway.
Bigger.
Cheese, do it in school or bring it grated might save you some time, plus it will save you washing up time as well. So, great. And then you're going to sprinkle your cheese over your pizza. I'm using today, I've got some red pepper that I've already cut, and I'm going to use a little bit of red onion, okay? So sprinkle the cheese on. Remember I said you can use different types of cheese. This is just cheddar.
Could you do 2 different types
You
of cheese?
absolutely could.
Mozzarella.
A mixture, not a problem.
Could you do camembert cheese?
Put the cheese and
Oh, I don't know what that would be like really.
sausages and you know what you could do? Sausages and camembert in the middle and then wrap.
So cheese goes on. Here I've got some red pepper that I've cut into little strips, and I'm just going to add that on. Make sure you put enough topping on, but not like piled up like that, because it's not a pizza mountain. But make sure you've got enough, because if you don't have enough, it can make it a bit dry. To Lisa.
Where would you buy pepperoni?
I think any supermarket, yeah.
In the shop, to
I
leave.
don't normally go to buy.
Yeah, you can get it. So yeah, you could make it, you can add some sort of meat on, make sure it's cooked meat, no raw meat please. I'm using a tiny bit of red onion. It's a tiny one. So I need to peel it, and then I'm going to cut some slices.
Does ham count as raw meat?
Does,
Ham.
no, that's cooked meat. Yeah, ham will do.
Sorry, I'm not very good at that.
It's all right.
Okay, I'm going to do ham and pineapple.
Ham and pepperoni work well. Mushrooms, onion, peppers, olives, herbs.
I might do all those.
So just, oh, sweet corn's nice. Depends what you like. Yeah, it depends what you like.
It's all right.
Mushrooms.
Mushrooms make me feel sick.
So all I've done here is sliced some little bits of red onion, which I'm going to sprinkle over. Then I'm just going to add a little bit of dried oregano, dried herb, for flavour. Then it's going into the oven. Now, baking time, it says 15 to 20. I think 15, if your oven's preheated, should be enough time. So make sure you look at the clock, the time that it goes in, and make sure that you check on your pizza. It should be, the cheese will be bubbling. It will be slightly golden brown around the edges, okay?
The onion just like
Little bit of oregano. Nice Italian herb, okay? Done. So with your dough, obviously it's going to be proving a little bit while you're doing the toppings, but pizza bases are fairly thin anyway. But you will get a nice, a little bit of rise, so you'll get a nice texture of dough, okay? That's it. It's going in the oven now.